All right. Thank you everybody for joining us today and welcome to the Fintech Nexus USA 2023 Know Before You Go webinar for attendees. I am Matt Murnane and I am the Chief Experience Officer at Fintech Nexus, and I am joined today by some of my esteemed colleagues.
I'm Megan Cornett, Director of Events.
I'm Veronica DaCosta, Lead Relationship Manager.
And I'm Kelly Hogan, Event Registration and Customer Service Manager.
I'm just going to give you a quick snapshot of what we'll go over in today's agenda. Kelly's going to take you through the registration and check-in process. Then she'll also go over the networking app, and then I will take you through an event overview. We'll talk about the overall agenda of the event, the floor plan, some networking events we have going on, and just some general helpful information. And then we'll have a Q&A at the end. If you have any questions during any of the sections, please feel free to use the Q&A chat box. We'll have someone that is answering them in real time as quickly as they can. And then at the end, we'll do a live Q&A and answer any new questions and anything that we might not have gotten to.
All right. We have a couple different registration locations available to you guys on Tuesday, May 9th. So if you want to pick up your badge early and avoid the lines on the morning of the first day of the show, absolutely stop by. We'll be open at the Javits Center in the North Concourse between 12 p.m. and 5 p.m. We will also be at the Marriott Marquis on the 3rd floor and the Intercontinental Hotel in the lobby from 2 to 5 p.m. If you are attending the VIP welcome reception, which is invite only, we will have that available. We will have registration available as well from 6 to 8 p.m. On Wednesday, May 10th, registration will open promptly at 7 a.m. Be sure to come early if you weren't able to pick up your badge the day before, because the Expo Hall floor opens at 8:45 and opening remarks are at 9 a.m. sharp. We'll close down registration at 5 p.m. on Wednesday, and we'll open up again at 7:30 a.m. on Thursday, May 11th. When you arrive to check in and receive your badge, be prepared to scan your ticket barcode. This was sent via email, but if you don't have it readily accessible to you when you arrive, no worries. We can search your registration records manually by typing in your name and email address. Your badge and lanyard will then be handed to you by a Fintech Nexus representative, and your badge will list your first name. This has a bit of an update. It'll have your first name big, little last name small, your company, a QR code, and your attendee category. We've made it a little easier for you all to identify other attendees throughout the event. General attendees will receive a black lanyard, sponsors will receive a blue lanyard, and speakers and press will receive a white lanyard. Moving right along to our networking app. This went out to all registered attendees yesterday morning. So if you have not received it, please let me know. You can download it on mobile as well as access it on your web browser. Some features are available on one version and not the other. So I recommend taking a look at both and getting used to both. This is the email you should have received yesterday. It will be coming from noReply@mailevents.fintechnexus.com. Only attendees that are registered for the event would have received this email. So if you haven't registered yet, do so soon. That way you can get into the app and start networking. If you haven't received it, please email info@fintechnexus.com and we'll take a look and assist you. Once you click Start Networking, it's going to ask you a couple onboarding questions. These are going to reflect the same questions that you answered when you registered and helps to make strong matches for you with our AI. These first fields here that are highlighted are mandatory to move on to the next section. And these fields highlighted below are not mandatory, but are highly encouraged. And the more information you have, the better matches you're going to get, and the easier it is for people to connect with you. Once you enter the platform, there's just a couple more things for you to update. On that top right-hand corner, you'll see your profile image. So go ahead and click into there and you can upload a profile image, help people find you in real life a little easier. You can also add a headline, which should auto-populate with your title and company, but I recommend customizing it to make you stand out on the attendee list. One important thing to note is that you can only manage your availability on the web browser. So log in on your computer at least once, go to your profile and edit your availability and block off any times that you are not available to network. Note that we are not closing our networking zone during lunchtime this year. So be sure to block off time for yourself, take care of yourself, make sure you get food. Last but not least, you can add a little bit longer of a description for who you are, what you do, and why people should meet with you in the summary section at the very bottom of this page. Once you're moving around and start connecting with people, there's a couple different things you'll see on your schedule. Firstly, any favorited content sessions that you might want to attend will appear here, and you're able to filter those out or filter them in. You are also able to filter your schedule by meeting status, whether it's accepted, declined, or pending. When you have a declined meeting, this is what that will look like. 2 red X's, and unfortunately that meeting is not going to be happening. When you see a meeting like the one below that says awaiting response, this means that it is a request that you have sent to other people but have not heard back from them yet. So you're waiting on somebody else to respond to your request. This third box here is what an accepted meeting will look like. It'll have that green little check on the right-hand side. You will also be assigned a meeting location, which should default to the one-to-one networking zone, as well as assign you a table. There might be some variance in where you're meeting, depending on the people and the locations they have. So just keep an eye on where that's sending you. And last but not least, this is a pending meeting request that you have received. So somebody requested to meet with you and you have not answered them yet. It is highly, highly encouraged to go in and answer all of your pending meeting requests, whether they are accepting or denying. Give them an answer and clear up that back-end system. It allows more people to meet. When you are navigating the attendee list and some other lists that we have available on the platform, this is what you'll see here. You will see the attendee list on the navigation bar on the left-hand side. Once you're in the attendee list, you can filter by those same onboarding questions that you answered when you entered the platform. So job level, job function, company, company type, so on and so forth. When you click into somebody's profile, like you see below, there's a lot of action you can take here. You can see profiles that are similar to this one. You can see all of that individual's onboarding questions. You can request a meeting with them. You can skip them, or you can show interest in them. One thing to note here is that skip will not remove them from the attendee list, but it will inform our AI of profiles that you don't want to meet with and don't want to see. When you show interest in somebody, which I recommend everybody do to as many people as they're interested in as possible, you'll get this notification on your left hand interested in you navigation tab. When you click into it, if you want to show mutual interest back in that person, you'll click show interest and you'll receive that handshake icon that you see below. When you get that handshake, we consider that a double opt-in connection, which means you are now able to chat openly with that attendee without having to request a meeting. You are also able to share contact information. You'll notice when you logged in that contact information is default setted to share with your connections already, but it is up to the individual user to change their privacy settings. So they could restrict this and make it private. They could open it and make it public. But generally speaking, once you connect with somebody, you are able to share contact information. These are just a couple other places you can look and kind of organize the attendees for yourself. This top option is the My Connections list. This is going to be everybody that you've shared that double opt-in connection with. Again, people that you have shared mutual interest in each other. You can request meetings, you can chat openly, share contact information. The My Skip list, again, is a place where you can reference attendees that you are not interested in seeing. The reason I point this out is because you can come back to My Skip list and undo a skip if you either made an accident or decide to actually meet with them later on. And last but not least is the My Interested list. So these are going to be attendees that you expressed interest in that haven't expressed interest back, but a great place for you to reference. And that's it for registration and networking.
All right, so I'm going to go over our event overview starting with May 9th. We've got our VIP welcome reception hosted by Allen and Overy at the Edition Hotel in Times Square. It's going to be from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. I've already seen a few people put questions in about this, but if you are interested in getting invited to that party, you can reach out to Danielle at fintechnexus.com. And then moving into our event on May 10th, it opens at 8:30 a.m. at the Javits Center until 5 p.m. And then we have our day one wrap party that day as well. Everyone is invited to this. It's a quick walk from the Javits Center to the Intrepid, really cool venue. We'll have a band, lots of good food, good drinks, and you can do a lot of networking there as well. After the BHG party, we've got our after party hosted by Argyle at the Knickerbocker rooftop. This one is invite only as well. So if you're interested in attending that, just reach out to Danielle at fintechnexus.com. On May 11th, our event continues from 8:30 to 5. And then we've got our Fintech Nexus USA closing reception at the Edison Ballroom. There's limited availability for this and you must RSVP. And there'll be an email coming out about this in the next week or so with more information about how to do that. This is an overview of the Javits Center. The top one on level 2 is the North Concourse. This is street level, and this is where you will enter the building to go to our registration counters. If you happen to enter in another part of the building, you might come in on the Crystal Palace or just further down on the North Concourse, and you'll just want to make sure you get to level 2 and look out for the Fintech Nexus registration. It will be very obvious. There's a big back wall. There'll be counters that you'll see for our registration. You'll get your badge there. You can get this on Monday or on Tuesday you can get this early when Kelly, with the hours that Kelly had listed. You can also get it at the Intercon and Marriott Marquis, or you can get it when you show up to show site on the day of the event. When you get your, oh wait, sorry, Matt, go back. I went off key on that one. Once you do have your badge and the show is open, you're going to go down the escalators that we have to where the exhibit hall is. You'll see an overview here of 1B and 1C, which is the sponsor hall. 1D is our main content, and then tracks and women in fintech in 1E. You can move on. This is a snapshot of our key areas within the sponsor hall. Food will be offered from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. So we'll have snacks, breaks, and then lunch. Since we're not stopping networking, you'll be able to go get a little bit of food whenever you need to on this in the back and on this right side. And you'll see our Fintech Nexus Lounge, our recharge zone, and our theaters are the innovation zone and the inspiration point. One-to-one networking is there in the middle. If you have any VIP meetings, they'll be in the VIP meetings lounge, which is there on the left side of the hall. And if you are a speaker, there's a speaker's lounge and the press lounge on the left side of the hall as well. And you'll see our game lounge that we've added if you just need to take a little break in the middle of the day. These are just recapping our networking and social events. We've got our VIP welcome reception from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the Edition Hotel, hosted by Allen and Overy. Our day one wrap party hosted by BHG at the Intrepid, and our day one after party hosted by Argyle at the Knickerbocker rooftop. These are some of our experiences that we have available on our website just to get a little bit of extra networking. These are paid experiences, but they're a discounted rate on the website. These will only be available through the end of the day tomorrow, with the exception of yoga. That will stay available up until the time of the event. So if you're interested in any of that, we've already got a lot signed up, but there's a few spots left. I encourage you to go to the website and join any of these activities. And then just some general information, there will be complimentary Wi-Fi available, sponsored by BHG, and I've got the network name and password there. It will also be listed on your badge and various other places on site. There is a quiet room in room 1D0506, and there'll be signage on site for this as well. It's right outside of the main content hall. If you just need to sit down and check some emails in a quiet space, or if you need to take a call in there and there happens to not be a lot of other people and you can take a call in there, that is available. If you need any help on site, please text Nexus to 77513. This will not be active until the event begins, so please do not text it until then. We will not get the message. And then just a quick note that all the restrooms on site are located at the front of the halls if you're looking for those. And I will move it over to Q&A.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Audience, feel free to type in any questions you may have. I'm going to answer some of the ones that came in or throw it to some of the team to answer. We've had a few questions about how to get invitations to the VIP networking events. So as Megan mentioned, the best way to get on the radar for those lists would be to email Danielle, DANIELLE at fintechnexus.com, and we will try to get you in there. And yes, we will be sending out a copy of this presentation, as well as just the deck to everybody who is an attendee for after the event. What happens if I lose my badge? That's a great question. Kelly, can you jump in there?
Yes, sorry, I was reading another question. Yes, so I forgot to mention this, so thank you for bringing that up. When you check in and receive your badge on your first day, you will also receive a wristband with that. So long as you have your wristband, we allow a free reprint of your badge. So at the very least, hang on to that wristband that you get. If you lose both, you will have to purchase a full ticket to the event. So at the very least, hang on to that wristband and you'll be able to get a reprint of your badge.
Thanks. We had a great question from Tim. I'm attending the Fraud Fighter. This is a totally separate track from Fintech Nexus. So we do have a super track at our event called Fraud Fight Club. Just wanted to clarify that I'm not sure if you're talking about a different Fraud Fighter event, but the Fraud Fight Club is a partnership with Fintech Nexus and About Fraud. And it's basically a super track that will go over the course of both days. And there will be elements as well as sponsoring companies woven into our event, again, over the course of those 2 days. If you've registered for Fraud Fight Club, you have full access to Fintech Nexus. And similarly, if you've registered to Fintech Nexus, you have full access to the Fraud Fight Club track. Am I able to authorize a colleague to pick up my badge early on Tuesday? I recommend just if you would like to do that, send an email to info@fintechnexus.com so we get it on our radar, and it should not be a problem.
One thing to note here is that if your colleague picks up your badge for you and somehow you don't get it and you come to print your badge after the fact with us, we'll run into some issues and cause a delay in the line and cause delay for you getting into the expo hall floor when you come to check in. So if somebody is picking up a badge for you, make sure you get it from them. Otherwise, it will cause you issues when you're in line.
We did get a question about limited meeting requests. There are no limited meeting requests.
Correct. Yep. You can send as many meeting requests as you'd like in the one-to-one networking zone. Pending meetings don't affect this. So send a million meeting requests, connect with everybody that you possibly can. The only time you won't be able to send a meeting request is if there is not mutual availability between you and the other attendee, or if that networking zone is full at that time. We only have 100 tables in this zone, so it's possible that some of these times will get filled up, which is why we recommend getting active on the app now.
One thing to add there, past event survey data shows us that attendees with higher meeting counts have more successful events. So our rule of thumb is to aim for having at least 16 accepted meetings over the course of both days.
Kelly, can you share a little bit about the interested list?
Yeah, this is just going to be the My Interested list is a list of attendee profiles that you expressed interest in. It's just a good place for you to recap who you've already kind of reached out to. You've either requested a meeting with them or you've just requested to connect with them. Just a good reference point to see who you've already looked at in case that way you don't like double your work and try to connect a second time.
If you express interest in someone,
Mhm.
do you see their contact
No.
information? What do you see?
Yes and
Okay.
no. That's the thing. The system is defaulted to share contact information with connections only. So that's the double opt-in interest, when you express interest in somebody and they expressed interest back, they become a connection and move from your my interested list to a my connections list. The system is defaulted to share contacts with your connections, but it is up to the individual user. So some people might opt out to share their contact information altogether, and some might opt to share their contact information publicly.
We had a question about women in fintech. I RSVP'd for the Women in Fintech event, but have not heard back yet. So first of all, thank you for expressing interest in that program. I will follow up with our team just to make sure that kind of acceptance of the RSVP requests are going out. We do recommend getting there early. There's always a ton of people that show up to Women in Fintech. It's one of our more popular components of the event. And again, capacity is limited. So getting there early kind of ensures you a spot in the luncheon. If there are 100 tables are already booked, can we also book time away from the meeting space? So this is another great question. I would actually recommend, if you are connected with that person through the app, and Kelly, correct me if I'm wrong here, but you'll be able to have that two-way chat dialogue open with that other attendee. And I would recommend kind of setting the meeting point being the info counter in the middle of that one-to-one networking zone. We've got a ton of networking space throughout the event. As Megan mentioned, we have a quiet room where you could take calls or get some work done. We've got a bunch of lounges where you can network and just kind of take a break. So there's a lot of informal meeting space that we've incorporated into the event. So setting that one-to-one meeting help desk as the mutual meeting point for a time that works for both of you is a really good way to facilitate a meeting if the tables are booked. Can I get a link to sign up for Women in Fintech Luncheon? There is a link on the website. If you want to shoot us an email at info@fintechnexus.com, we can direct you there. So is there a chance that there's misalignment for meeting times? For example, I'm meeting two people at the same time.
Yeah, I was looking at this. I have a couple follow-up questions to assist you further. So if you can email info@fintechnexus.com, I'll jump in there and help you look at this.
Yeah, these are some great questions, guys. Thank you. And then we had another one. Who do I reach out to if I have issues with either onboarding or getting an invite to the app? And the answer there is info@fintechnexus.com.
For anybody wondering where the recording will be found after this, of this webinar, it will be sent to you via email. And if you have friends or colleagues that are attending the event that didn't attend this webinar, absolutely share this recording with people. If you're experiencing issues logging into the app, whether it is iOS or Android, please email info@fintechnexus.com for assistance. We can look into it and help you out.
Is there a safe place for introverts to hide? I mean, network. So yeah, there's a quiet room. There's a lot of different lounges that have different activations. So there's the gamers lounge, which would be really fun. It's just a way to kind of disconnect, and you might find yourself networking with people of similar interests. All right, well, thank you everybody for joining us today, and thank you to the team at Fintech Nexus for putting this together. If you have any other questions, feel free to email us at info@fintechnexus.com, and we look forward to seeing you in just under 2 weeks at the Javits Center in New York.